The NFL is a league built on cold, hard decisions. Sometimes, those decisions feel like a betrayal. Sometimes, they feel like a masterclass in strategy. But rarely do we see a move that leaves an entire fanbase questioning reality until now. A Blockbuster deal has just sent shockwaves through the league, and if you think you know the whole story, you're dead wrong. The biggest move of the offseason wasn't just a trade, it was a complete identity shift for a franchise that has been starving for stability. Before we dive into the wreckage and the gold hidden within this deal, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. There is a divide in the NFL right now. On one side, you have the analytical geniuses in the front offices who look at a roster like a game of chess. On the other, you have the fans who look at their star players like family. When those two worlds collide, it gets messy. The move that saw a defensive titan leave Cleveland to join the Los Angeles Rams has triggered a massive debate. Was this the smartest move in franchise history, or an absolute disaster that will haunt the front office for a decade? We aren't just talking about a player, we are talking about a legacy being packed into a cardboard box. But here is the kicker: the executives around the league, the people who actually get paid to win games, aren't laughing at this trade. They're studying it. Why would a team willingly part ways with a generational talent like Myles Garrett? That's the question everyone is asking. But hold that thought, because wait until you hear what the experts are saying about the specific, game-changing asset Cleveland actually got in return. The industry consensus right now is fascinating. According to league insiders, this trade was a calculated gamble that was timed perfectly to the second. You see, roster building in the NFL is a high-stakes race against the clock. Every team has a window. If you miss that window, you're stuck in the middle, the dreaded purgatory where you're too good to get a top draft pick but not good enough to win a Super Bowl. The executives believe Cleveland realized they were drifting toward that middle ground. They saw an opportunity to capitalize on an asset at his peak value. Think about that for a second. In the NFL, value is fleeting. Players age, injuries happen, and salary caps tighten. By trading Garrett now, the franchise didn't just dump a contract, they secured a future. The return package is what makes this truly insane. When you break down the numbers, it equates to 3 first-round picks in total value. That is the kind of draft capital that can build the foundation of a dynasty. But they didn't just take picks. They did something much smarter. They brought in a proven weapon, Jared Verse. You have to wonder, could they have gotten more if they just went for pure draft picks? Maybe. But picks are just dreams. A player like Verse. That is a reality. He is a defensive rookie of the year, a Pro Bowler, and a guy who has already proven he can wreck a game plan. So, who is actually to blame if this fails, the scouts who demanded the trade, or the coaching staff who has to figure out the new puzzle? Drop your name in the comments below. Now, let's talk about the man in the middle of this firestorm. Jared Verse isn't just a consolation prize. If you look at his numbers, you'll understand why the front office was willing to pull the trigger on such a massive, controversial move. During his rookie campaign, Verse posted a 17.2% pressure rate. To put that in perspective, that is the second highest mark by any rookie since 2021, trailing only Micah Parsons. He recorded 89 total pressures. Since Khalil Mack in 2014, no rookie, including postseason play, has put up numbers like that. He is a machine. He is a guy who plays with a violent, unrelenting intensity that the Cleveland defense has been begging for. But here is where the story gets really interesting. Some critics are pointing to his sack totals, 4.5 in his rookie year, and calling it a weakness. Those people clearly weren't watching the tape. Fast forward to 2025, and those numbers ballooned to 7.5. He played all 17 games, kept the pressure at an elite level, and forced 3 fumbles. This isn't a guy who is plateauing, this is a guy who is currently in the middle of a massive upward trajectory. But wait until you hear how the system change in Cleveland is going to turn this young star into a full-blown nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. It's about culture. Verse is coming from a winning environment in Los Angeles, under a coaching staff that knows how to lift a trophy. He's seen what it takes to get to the mountaintop. And when he talks, you can tell he isn't here to mimic the guys who came before him. He's here to set a new standard. Verse himself said it best, Myles is a great player. I watch his film every day. I'm not here to fill his shoes. That's not my job. My job is to be the best me. That quote tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. He doesn't want to be the next Myles Garrett. He wants to be the first Jared Verse. That is the kind of internal drive that you simply cannot teach. It's what separates the all-pros from the journeyman. And for a city that has been waiting for someone to step up and own the spotlight, that should give you goosebumps. But is that drive enough to overcome the massive structural holes still plaguing this team? Because despite the excitement, the cold reality is that the quarterback position is still the biggest question mark in the entire AFC North. Let's be honest, the quarterback situation in Cleveland has been a disaster for years. It has been a revolving door of hope and heartbreak. Now, the team is looking at their future, and the path forward is anything but clear. Some scouts are saying the team was essentially forced to make the trade because they realized they weren't going to be true contenders next year anyway. They were honest about their timeline. That is a tough pill for fans to swallow. No one wants to hear that their team is a year or two away. But it's the truth. You cannot compete for a championship without an elite signal caller, and right now, that solution is missing. We've seen the struggles, the wasted potential, and the constant cycle of instability. Could the answer be Shader Sanders? He has shown flashes, and he has the pedigree. But relying on a developmental project is a massive risk. If he succeeds, it's a stroke of genius. If he fails, the trade for Verse will be remembered as the moment the front office threw away a generational talent for nothing. It's a high-stakes gamble, and the pressure is already mounting. But while the critics are busy sharpening their knives, there is a quiet confidence in the front office. They didn't just dump a player, they overhauled a roster that was clearly rotting from the inside out. Look at what else they did this offseason. They didn't just tinker, they hammered their needs. 5 of their first 6 draft picks were dedicated to wide receiver or offensive line. That is a loud, clear statement. They realized they were failing at the most basic level of roster construction, protecting the passer and giving him someone to throw to. 8 of their 10 picks were on offense. They ignored the best player available strategy and instead took the players they desperately needed. That is how you turn a disaster into a foundation. They picked up players like Elton Jenkins and Zion Johnson for the offensive line. They secured a starting left tackle in Spencer Follow. They went out and traded for Titus Howard, giving him a long-term extension. They added Emmanuel McNeil to bolster the interior. They weren't just playing fantasy football, they were building a team. And they needed to, because the stats were embarrassing. In 2025, that offensive line was ranked 31st out of 32 teams. The wide receiver room was dead last. It was an offensive catastrophe. They had no choice but to go overboard, and they did exactly that. But wait, there is one more piece of the puzzle that almost nobody is talking about, a move that proves this front office is playing a different game entirely. Do you remember Joe Tyonry? The trade deadline day move that seemed like a minor footnote. The team flipped him to the Bears for a late-round pick swap and managed to snag a 6th-round pick in the process. At the time, it looked like a throwaway move. But now that he's retired, that move looks like a classic, cold-blooded front office heist. It was a small win, sure, but it speaks to the meticulous nature of the current regime. They are finding value in the margins, and in the NFL, the margins are where titles are won. So, where does that leave us? We have a team that has shed its biggest, most expensive asset to buy back its future. We have a young, hungry defender in Jared Verse who is ready to prove he's the next big thing. We have an offensive line that was rebuilt from the ground up to protect a quarterback room that is still looking for a hero. It's a transition period. It's messy, it's frustrating, and it's undeniably risky. But it's also a sign of a team that has finally stopped living in the past and started looking at the calendar. They realized that waiting around for the old ways to work wasn't going to get them a ring. They had to tear it down to build it back up. The question isn't whether they made the right move in a vacuum, the question is whether they have the patience to see it through. Because if you're a fan in Cleveland, you've been asked to be patient for a long, long time. The stage is set. The roster is transformed. The future is unwritten. Whether this ends in a trophy or a rebuild that lasts another decade is entirely up to the players now. But one thing is for certain, they are no longer sitting in the middle. They have made their move, they have bet the house on a new identity, and the only thing left to do is play the games. As we look ahead, the story of this team is only just beginning. The dust has settled on the Blockbuster trade, the draft picks have been made, and the team is reporting to the field. Every snap will be a test of whether this was a masterclass in roster building or the beginning of a long, cold winter. But for the first time in a long time, there is a clear plan. There is a vision. And for the diehards out there, that might just be enough to keep the faith alive. We've covered the trade, the stats, the potential, and the cold, hard reality of the business. But as the season approaches, keep your eyes on the way these new pieces fit together. Watch how the chemistry develops in the trenches. And more than anything, keep watching the quarterback position, because that is where the season will be won or lost. The game is changing. The league is evolving. And teams that refuse to move with the current are the ones that get left behind. Whether you agree with the direction or not, you have to respect the boldness. They looked at the landscape, they looked at their chances, and they didn't flinch. Now, the silence of the offseason is about to be replaced by the roar of the crowd. The real test is almost here. Are they truly a team on the rise, or have they simply delayed the inevitable? We will have the answer soon enough. Until then, the debate continues, the tension builds, and the wait for kickoff feels longer than ever. One thing is certain, the NFL never stops, and neither do we. Stay tuned, because the next chapter of this story is going to be written in real time, one Sunday at a time. The path ahead is steep, the competition is ruthless, and the pressure is on. But that's the beauty of it. That's why we watch. That's why we care. The stage is set for the most important season in years, and we are just getting started.